So I was very glad to have this Eberspacher D4 when I bought the boat, but it's never been quite right, in spite of me trying to service it in various ways, checking it's not coked up, checking there's decent voltage to the unit, particularly the glow plugs, and it worked, but it was temperamental. It would often do a false start and billow loads of white smoke out of the back of the boat. And you know, it's always the day when you're freezing your butt off and you need heat that it doesn't quite work. So I thought, I'll tell you what, I've tried the easy things, I'm going to bench fix it. So pull it out, put it on the bench, take my time with it, and in the meantime I'll fit a Chinese diesel heater. And this is the one I bought. So I got it off Amazon for about £89. It says 5 kilowatt. The Eberspacher D4 was 4 kilowatts, I believe. So, you know, broadly equivalent. Obviously less good build quality, I suspect. But interesting, easy to fit relatively, and has the short version is that it's actually worked really well so far. So don't worry, I'm not going to do some unboxing YouTuber thing, but just to show you what it comes in and then fast forward to the stuff that matters. So I think I've already said that the unit is a fairly straight swap. There are a couple of things to be aware of. You can see here they're pretty much the same size, and the import and output ports for the exhaust are almost identical, so pipe diameter, and the bolting connections are exactly the same, and the fuel in line is in exactly the same place as well. As you can see on the right here, it's still got the tubing on there, so nothing too much to worry about in terms of replacing the new for the old. There was a little sort of lip here that had to be sawn back a bit. You can see I've taken it off here, but I've left the dust behind. I'm sure it was just a casting error and it didn't cause any issues when I attached the exhaust. So let's look at the warm air outlet. So the Eber is on the right and the new Amazon unit is on the left, and they're not quite the same diameter. The Eberspacher D4 is just a tiny bit wider external diameter than the Chinese diesel heater. So 8 centimeters external diameter for the Eber and 7.5 for the Chinese heater, which is not that big a deal, to be honest. I believe I used a bit of aluminium heatproof tape. So on the right you can see the bracket that came with the unit, and the one that's actually attached is the one that was already in place for the Eberspacher, which works for me. I think it was fabricated by the previous owner. So what I wanted to do was, instead of having it mounted crosswise, I wanted it fore and aft, because I'd read that it works much better if you're tipping and it's along the longitudinal axis rather than tipping it on its end all the time when the boat is sailing. So to do that I had to just strengthen the bracket and attach it to the bulkhead in a safe way, but it was nothing particularly difficult to do. Apart from rotating it so it's fore and aft and lifting it up slightly to allow easier access, I didn't want to make any major changes to the fitting because I want to use the existing fuel line and the existing heating ducting. So now we've got the heater bolted in, we can look at the electrics and the exhaust and the heater ducting. So let's have a look at the wiring for a second. This is the new stuff that connects to the remote sort of display unit. This connects to the pump, the fuel pump. And that connects to the heater unit itself. So when wiring to the battery, just check that there isn't any voltage drop, especially if you're reusing old wire. It's easy for corrosion to create voltage drop that then might affect the glow plugs. So there's quite a lot going on here. So let's start with the exhaust. The thick black tube is the air intake for the combustion, not for the actual heating that goes into the cabin, but the flame. So once that's gone and through the burner, it needs to come out and safely go out of the boat without causing CO1 poisoning or fumes in some way. The white woolly stuff is fiberglass heat shield. Using good quality Jubilee clips really helps to get a good seal, as does using gasket paste, for similar to when you're using fitting a car exhaust. Also note that that grey fuel line is kept clear of anything that can get hot. Okay, and here we have the fuel pump. The green line is a shock absorber so that the ticking noise is not transmitted through to the bulkhead, and it needs to be at a certain angle so it lubricates and doesn't get air bubbles. The Le Tonkinson website is an absolutely fantastic source of information. So from there I just needed to connect the heating duct, which you can see here, not quite connected yet, because I was getting to the point where I was losing the will to live, so I didn't film it particularly well. And here we have the magic moment of realization where it actually works. So I'll show you the controller, which has some really nice features. The nice thing about this over the Eva is you can see a lot more in terms of what is going on. So you've got symbols for the fan, you've got symbols for the fuel pump and the battery, and how hard the heater is working as well. So lots of nice features there, and other things to explore as well. Maybe a video next time.